Margaret Thatcher said she ran on 4 hours of sleep. So did Napoleon. So do a surprising number of CEOs today. But there's a study that reveals something they never told you. You can feel completely fine on 4 hours of sleep while your brain quietly falls apart, and you won't even notice it happening. Let's be clear about what we're actually testing. Not one bad night, a lifetime of 4 hours every night, forever. No naps, no catching up on weekends, just 4 hours, night after night, for the rest of your life. Here's what the research actually says happens. Night 1 is rough. You're groggy. Your reaction time is a little slower. Maybe you reach for a third coffee. Totally normal. Your body treats it like an emergency. Cortisol spikes, adrenaline kicks in, and honestly, you push through. This is where most people stop paying attention, because by day 3 or 4, something strange happens. You start to feel normal again. That feeling is the most dangerous part of this entire experiment. In 2003, sleep researchers Hans van Dongen and David Dinges ran a landmark study restricting people to 6 hours, then 4 hours of sleep a night, for 2 straight weeks. They tracked 2 things: how sleepy people said they felt, and how their brains actually performed on reaction time and attention tests. For the first few days, both lines moved together. People felt worse and performed worse, but then something split. Around day 4, the subjective sleepiness leveled off. People reported feeling like they'd adapted. Meanwhile, their actual cognitive performance kept declining in a straight line for the entire 2 weeks. By day 14, people running on 4 hours a night were performing as badly as someone who'd been awake for 24 hours straight, a full night with 0 sleep. And they had no idea. Their brains were quietly lying to them. This is the core problem with chronic short sleep. It doesn't feel like a crisis, so you don't treat it like one. While your brain is fooling you about how impaired you are, the rest of your body is keeping an honest record. Take hormones. In a 2011 study, researchers restricted young, healthy men to 5 hours of sleep a night for 1 week, just 1 week, and testosterone levels dropped by 10 to 15%. That's roughly the hormonal age jump of 10 to 15 years from a single week of short sleep. Growth hormone tells a similar story. Most of its release happens during deep, slow-wave sleep, the kind you lose first when you cut your night short. Less deep sleep means less of the hormone your body relies on to repair muscle and tissue overnight. Your appetite hormones shift too. Ghrelin, which tells your brain you're hungry, goes up. Leptin, which tells your brain you're full, goes down. Sleep-restricted people don't just feel more tired, they feel hungrier, and they tend to reach for higher-calorie food, particularly late at night, exactly when they're least equipped to make that decision well. Then there's your immune system. Studies exposing sleep-restricted volunteers to a common cold virus found they were roughly 4 times more likely to actually get sick compared to people sleeping 7 hours or more. Your natural killer cells, the immune cells that hunt down infected and abnormal cells, measurably drop in activity after even a single night of shortened sleep. Do that every night, and you're running a permanently understaffed immune system. Here's the one that should really concern you. While you sleep, your brain runs a cleanup system called the glymphatic system, discovered and named only in 2012. It flushes cerebrospinal fluid through brain tissue and clears out metabolic waste, including a protein called beta amyloid, the same protein that clumps together in the brains of people with Alzheimer's disease. This clearance process is far more active during sleep than during waking hours. Chronic short sleep is associated with reduced clearance and higher amyloid buildup over time. To be precise about the science, this is a correlation observed in long-term studies, not a proven direct cause of dementia, but it's a strong enough signal that sleep researchers now treat sleep health as a genuine factor in long-term brain health, not just a nice-to-have. Your emotional brain doesn't fare much better. In sleep-deprived subjects, brain scans show the amygdala, your brain's threat and emotion center, becomes up to 60% more reactive to negative images. At the same time, the connection between your amygdala and your prefrontal cortex, the region that normally keeps emotional reactions in check, weakens. In plain terms, sleep-restricted people don't just feel more irritable. Their brain has measurably less ability to talk itself down. So is there anyone this doesn't apply to? Actually, yes, a tiny number of people. Researchers have identified rare genetic variants, including a gene called DEC2, in a small population of so-called natural short sleepers, people who function on 4 to 6 hours a night their entire lives with none of the deficits we just covered. But here's the catch. This affects an estimated 1% or less of the population, and you cannot train yourself into it. Pulling all-nighters or grinding through short nights doesn't reveal a hidden short sleeper gene. If you're one of the roughly 99% of people without that variant, restricting your sleep doesn't make you tougher. It just makes the debt invisible. There's one more twist worth sitting with. Some of that debt doesn't fully pay back, even after you start sleeping normally again. Research on recovery sleep shows that a few long nights on the weekend can restore how alert you feel almost immediately. But certain measures of sustained attention and metabolic markers can take a week or more of consistent, full-length sleep to fully normalize. In other words, the deficit you build up during a stressful, short sleep week doesn't vanish the moment you finally get 8 hours. It lingers. So, what actually happens if you sleep 4 hours a night forever? Your cognitive performance degrades steadily while you feel increasingly confident that you're fine. Your hormones shift toward less muscle repair and more stored fat. Your immune system quietly weakens. Your brain's overnight cleanup crew falls behind on its shift, and your emotional regulation erodes, one underslept night at a time. None of this happens all at once. That's exactly why it works as a long-term experiment, and exactly why it's so easy to convince yourself you've adapted right up until the debt comes due.